Dr. Angela here with the amazing and wonderful Jen Long. I have so much respect for this woman.
Oh, thank you. Ditto. Absolutely ditto.
Yes, high five on that one. So, in our last video, if you haven't seen the last video we did with Jen, check it out. It's on my Facebook feed and hers as well. We talked about self-care.
Yes.
And we thought the next video, which would flow nicely, would be to tackle the subject of emotional wellness. So I'll let Jen kick this one off.
Yeah, so emotional wellness, I mean, how do we do that? Like, how do we bring ourselves to a place of emotional wellness? So oftentimes, there's a bunch of strategies and things that are brought in that are suggested for people to use. Then there's also the physical suggestions of making sure to sleep well and to, good nutrition, stay hydrated, exercise. But often what's missed from that is the spiritual piece. So, and just sort of like the amazing things that bringing in a spiritual practice into your life, like a daily practice into your life, how it can really enhance your emotional wellness, really. So just speaking from a personal experience, a couple of years ago, I was going through a challenging time, and someone had suggested to me to, try meditating. And I had never done it before, and the perfectionist in me was, what if I do it wrong? What if it doesn't work? But, I kind of parked those ideas because, again, a wise person once said to me, do whatever it is, but do it wrong. And I loved that because for that perfectionist side, it really just kind of took that, weight off of my shoulders. So I thought, okay, I'm going to use that idea with my, emerging meditation practice. And I found a great app and I just started slow, and I thought, I would just create some space in my day to do it. And within a week of doing a 10-minute directed meditation every morning after I got ready for work, and then I would zip downstairs to go do this before I made my children's lunches. And did it ever make a difference? And it was just me creating the space and then allowing that process to unfold however it did. I just listened to the guided meditation, which was really lovely because I find when I think of meditation, I think of sitting in hours of silence. And I've come to know that's not how I meditate. So I appreciated the guided meditation. So they kind of tell you what you need to be doing, what you need to be visualizing. There's a bunch of online amazing ones on YouTube and different variations of time if anyone wants to check anything out. But yeah, it really was a game changer. It really was. So I start to understand it at that point in my life, I understood it as reducing some of my overall daily stress just by sort of building in those moments for myself, building in those moments. And at the time, I didn't really know what it was other than that, building in the moments for myself. And I heard meditation was good, so, helpful. So it just started to reduce my overall experience of, I should say, distress every day, and just creating that space for myself, some quiet. And then I really loved it because the app that I was using, at the end, there was a little quote that was from the guided meditation. And sometimes I would take a screenshot and just like reflect back on that in the day if I needed to, because it was just such a nugget of wisdom that I just really resonated with me. And that's sort of where I started. And I kept that with me, that practice, for quite some time. Fast forwarding now to where I am, I sort of integrate my experience of spirituality in a variety of ways into my daily life. Sometimes it is meditation. Sometimes it's creating some space. And again, I find music really resonates with me. Not so much like, yes, like lyrics and that kind of like music with lyrics, but really just music at different frequencies. Again, some amazing YouTube channels, lots of variety of resources for that. That I follow the ones I listen to are on YouTube, and it's free content. So, so I just, I sit with the music and just allow that, create some space for myself. And it's really about, the thing that I love about creating your own meditation practice is that you gear it towards what you have time for. Like if you only have 5 minutes to sit, if you only have 2 minutes to sit and center yourself, and you're like, that's all I can give myself today, just give yourself 2 minutes. Start there. It doesn't always have to be, 45 minutes, an hour. It's really just creating that space for your body to kind of reset, really just tap into something a little bit more connected, and allow that to come in to into your body, into your presence and your awareness, your consciousness. So,
well, and I suppose when it comes to like great ideas or really quick emotions that come up and then we snap at somebody, like those types of things are really quick, and so you kind of look at it and go, time's kind of relative, especially in that regard. And so if we have the ability to have like a really quick emotional shift in a negative way, or a really quick change of focus in a negative way, we can also do that in a positive way. It might just take a little bit more skill. And I think Mother Nature's really agreeing with us here. The wind is really just blowing right now. Skill and practice, and it really brings into mind what you're talking about, just consciousness. Like, what is consciousness?
Right. That's a big topic. What is consciousness? I don't know if I'm going to tackle that topic, but I will say awareness. Let's see. I think awareness is maybe because consciousness that's a big one. I think people postulate about that for years.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, maybe that's an ongoing question we come back to if we, do like a little video series or something. Okay. What is consciousness?
Deal.
But yeah, so I'm gonna shrink it down a little bit to awareness. So awareness, is really sort of being in a present moment and taking it in, and almost like seeing everything with a fresh set of eyes, and with curiosity, objectivity, because I think that sometimes our emotions make judgments and come into those moments, but really it's about being present in the moment around you, and having awareness of what's happening right now, like right in this present moment.
So kind of like detached, curious noticing.
Yeah, I mean, I think detached in the sense of not making judgment, not making, just sort of being with it, like not, just sort of, I mean, certainly it's okay to be having an experiential moment, where you're feeling it, but you're not sort of getting your, people refer to this as the ego brain. So, not letting your ego get involved with making a judgment, or trying to necessarily understand it, or create theories or logic around it. It's just sort of really sitting and being present in the moment. So that's
Thank you for
the
clarifying.
awareness.
Very wise.
Because I think I mean, sometimes it might feel a little detached, if you're a person that's really that word might really fit for some people. If you're a person that really gets attached to what's happening in the moment, it just, our attachments can kind of create a narrative that may not be how it actually is. That's just kind of more our perspective. So it gives us that lens, whereas awareness, I think, is when you step outside of that lens and you kind of take it all in, and you're like, oh, for the first time this looks very different, and you're more aware, and you're seeing everything. It's not just the one thing that maybe makes you uncomfortable.
Okay, so kind of like, instead of being flung about by your experience of that thing that's happening, it's like you take that rope off and you just step there and stay. here, a boat can fling about all it wants, but I'm not going to be flung about by it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Does that?
I think for some people it might be like that. Yeah.
And for others, just a matter of not judging it. And I love that, non-judgmental curiosity.
Yeah, just holding it.
Noticing.
Or maybe not holding it, but like just being there, just being present, just being like, I'm here right now. You know, the wind's moving around us. We're sitting outside and it's brisk and beautiful. Just kind of like taking it all in. And then sometimes that creates space for new ideas to emerge, and also some of those other things that felt so reactive in ourselves to settle down a little bit. And perhaps that's what some of the beauty is about meditation, is that some of that reactivity that we're feeling before we go and create those 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, hours, whatever for ourselves to have that spiritual practice in our day, we sort of slow down that reaction that's happening. And that's what allows the calmness to come and the distress to reduce.
Okay, so as distress reduces, brain space increases.
Yeah, I mean, so I often use the analogy of like a cup of water, right? So if you have a cup of water and you know, it's hard to, normally I draw this out. It's hard to, so we're all going to visualize.
I got a whiteboard for next time.
We're all going to visualize a cup of water, and it's almost full, right? And so when you've got it to that almost full and you've only got this much more at the top, then whatever and you wake up like this, your cup's this big, but you only have this much more at the top, and you wake up like this, and then any little thing happens, and then all of a sudden your top is full and you're overflowing, right? So by bringing in a practice of something to remove the distress, you know, your day starts and you have more room at the top, and that's a lot much more room to fill with different things throughout the day before, you know, an emotional meltdown happens, or however you feel it, panic or pure distress fills you up. So it does create more space, like you said, like it creates more space for other things to come in, right? So maybe something like really beautiful comes in, and with awareness, you're able to catch it. Not catch it, but you're able to see it. You're acknowledging it. You're aware of it. But if you can notice it.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So I just want to speak a little moment about spirituality versus religion. I always put the two together. For my for most of my life, I put those two together, and I really, you know, I wasn't quite sure what to do with it all. And I've come to understand that the two are very, like, although they're at times they are very together, they can also be very separate. So if somebody, you know, just maybe has uncomfortable feelings about the ideas of religion or organized religion, spirituality, you can still be a very spiritual person, bring that spirituality into your day-to-day, because you're tapping into something different. So something more universal. It's not so defined. Religion, from my understanding, and I apologize if I'm misspeaking, but my understanding is that it's a bit more organized religions, or more organized, I guess, really. There's more like clear definitions of things, whereas spirituality is more universal in the sense that it's, you decide what's right for you, what feels right for you, what resonates, and then tapping into that, the openness, yeah.
Okay, so religion being a beautiful vehicle.
Yes, sure. It certainly can be. Yeah. I mean, it can help a person really connect to that spiritual general, in the general sense. But if it's something that's not something you connect with, then there's still opportunity for a connection in a different way.
And that's wonderful to think about, is because, like we said in the last video, recipes and prescriptions just do not fit in with this kind of work.
Right. It's again, like I mentioned in the previous video, you know, it's really about listening to what resonates within yourself. So even going back to the idea of meditation, like maybe it's not sitting in one space and listening to something or being quiet. Maybe it's walking. Maybe it's interacting in sort of a repetitive movement or a repetitive task, and just sort of you're allowing yourself to drop in and immerse into it and really be in that moment.
So like jogging, lifting weights, doing a yoga class could potentially maybe be a vehicle for meditation?
I think that would really have to depend on the individual. Jogging, I think possibly more than lifting weights, because I feel like lifting weights is a very focused. Like I think there's a lot of things happening within the body, within your muscles, because it's not, whereas jogging, I'll be honest, I can't really speak to that. I'm not a jogger, but what I have heard people say that do like long distance running is that it is a very enlightening experience for them. So yoga, yes. Yoga, I think because of just the nature of it, there's a lot of breath work with yoga. So that brings in, I think, you're physiologically doing something. You're resetting your body when you're doing breath work like that. I mean, even just breath work, actually. Breath work is a great place to bring in some spirituality into your being. It's about holding the intention. So you know what? It's really that.
I love when this comes back around like this.
Yeah, it's really about the intention. So like if your intention, I suppose, with weightlifting is to have a meditative experience, and it's just like you like that, I'm not sure what the proper term would be, but like that, almost like that push-pull, like that resistance, you know, I mean, I think it would really be set by your intention. You know,
I think so.
Because you start to tap into like a different place in your consciousness. Really, like you do, like you tap with meditation, like you're allowing your brain to tap into a different level of consciousness.
With meditation, you're allowing your brain to tap into a different level of consciousness.
Yeah.
So almost like, well, because, you know, doctor-y me, so I'm like, okay, it's almost like if the brain had muscles. Mm-hmm. Like you're sort of taking all the blood, maybe taking some of the blood out of the analytical area and the do, go area, and putting it into different parts of the brain, so our awareness is different, our experience of that moment is different.
I believe, yes. The brain sort of eludes me a little bit, I'll be honest with you, but from some of the work that I have read from Dr. Joe Dispenza, he does a lot of really amazing work about consciousness and the brain. I would say it comes down, from what I've read from his work, is that it comes down to a lot of brain waves. So like the frequencies, the connectivity that's happening within our brain is sort of, when our brain waves drop into a certain frequency, then you are in pure consciousness.
Amazing. Frequency and vibration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So much to do with energy work and spirituality, and even with exercise or with meditative practices, with sitting, with music. That's all vibrational. It's all rhythmic.
Yes.
Amazing.
It is. Yes. Absolutely.
Amazing. Okay, so emotional wellness.
Yeah.
As we circle back around to where we started.
Yeah. And so I think spirituality, I really love what you just said about the frequency and vibration. It's all interconnected. And I think that perhaps for some people, like for myself included, like I said earlier, I prefer to do my meditation practice with some music playing or with something like a directive happening. And perhaps for a lot of it for me is the music.
Yeah, me too.
You know, like maybe it's not so much about really what it, you know, when I create that space for myself to allow myself to listen to the music. And then awesomeness happens. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, this was just a sort of a mind-blowing, and I loved how you were able to, Jen's got so much life experience, and she's been courageous enough to go deep. It's not all this sort of superficial, like, she knows what she's talking about.
Yeah.
So.
Real felt experience with a lot of it. I really believe that's, being able to step into this next sort of stage of my life, I think, was all because of my experiences, because of my, just my journey. And I'm ready for this next stage. So I appreciate these opportunities to come chat about things that I have come to know and learn.
Well, thank you so much for doing it.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, stay tuned. We got one more.
We do.
Okay, hope you're having a great day.